Colored content exclusive.
Hi everyone, it's Victoria, and I'm here with Todd Inman, the creator of The Corporate Brother.
Hey, Victoria, how are you?
All right, and you? I'm so glad you can make it.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
No problem. So, I have some questions to ask you about the web series.
Okay.
Okay, so for anyone who hasn't seen the comedy,
Mhm.
could you tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. So, The Corporate Brother is a comedy basically highlighting what it's like to be the only black in an office. So, it's actually the first project of its kind. It was created back in 2011, and we have 10 episodes out. We were basically on about an every 2 month schedule to get episodes out, and then took a few hiatuses. But actually, since our project's come out, of course, there's been other shows that have taken similar themes than us, but we were the first to get out there and to have a comedy tracing what it's like to be the only black, the only minority in an office, and how we are treated. Oftentimes, inappropriate things are said and done around us because a lot of our coworkers don't really know how to interact with us. They've never really interacted around blacks. They basically, kind of have their background with us through television and movies and music and different things like that. So that's the show in a nutshell.
So the show makes light of a lot of Black stereotypes. Why did you decide to tackle such a touchy subject?
Great question. Well, I was really inspired because of what I went through. I was in corporate America for a long time, and I was oftentimes the only black in my department, the only black on my floor, different things of that nature. And a lot of things that I would face on a day-to-day basis, I would think, man, I would say to myself, gosh, that was inappropriate, or, how could that person just say that? How could they be so ignorant to think that that was acceptable, And those are things that I sort of carried with me, while I was there. And obviously, in a corporate environment, you have to maintain your cool. You can't just go off just because somebody said something inappropriate. So I thought to myself, I said, I'm sure a lot of other African Americans have faced these situations, who have been in these type of dynamics where they've been the only one. And so I said, if I took it from a humorous perspective, we could be able to laugh at it. And oftentimes I find that laughter really takes the sting out of things. If you can learn to not take yourself so seriously. And so that's the kind of what the impetus for this particular show was. And I found, just from the people's response to it, that, again, we do relate. A lot of people say, man, that happened to me or happens to me. And they kind of laugh at it. And again, it takes that sting out of it that we ordinarily would feel.
We so far have some things instilled in us that we don't even respect about ourselves.
Right.
And it makes it really hard. So, I think I'm happy that you were able to kind of show it in a light manner so people can kind of appreciate it or accept it more. So Black people have given you positive feedback. Has there been anybody from any other culture who's kind of been like, wow, I didn't think about it that way, or wow, I can see people have done that, or they don't see any connection?
Great question. And actually, you're exactly right. They have walked away with an education, and I think through the laughter, through the humor, and them, kind of chuckling, they say, man, I've said that myself, to a black coworker or a black friend, and I thought it was, I didn't think it was inappropriate. I thought it was just, what was cool to say. And so now I learned that, you can't say those kind of things, that it does make people uncomfortable, that it is insensitive. So a lot of, like I said, it's really been an education. A lot of, I grew up in a primarily white area, actually. So I have a lot of suburban friends who are on my Facebook list, and they see my shows and they say, man, I never thought about that, So it's really been an education.
What messages would you want people to take from the series? What are some of the messages, the key points that you want people to get from the series?
Sure. So, one, I would like, the white viewers to learn that things aren't appropriate that, are said around us, and what we consider offensive. I want them to walk away from that. I also want them to walk away with the respect for what we go through being the only Black or minority in a given situation. That oftentimes, it's very rare that white people find themselves in that scenario where they're the only white person, right? But we as Black people, we find that very often, whether it's, catching a plane or at a restaurant or at work or what have you, we're often, one of the few, if not the only one. So we have a whole different perspective of what it's like to be in society, and I try to educate white people, like, it's a whole different world for us. What you think is common and normal, we have to adjust to, as being the only one of color, as an example. So that's that. And then on the side of African Americans, just one, for us to recognize that, we are in a corporate scenario, and, we have to feed our family, so we can't fly off the handle and start flipping over chairs just because somebody said something inappropriate. Obviously, there's policies that most companies have, HR related, that you can follow through with if you have a need to complain. That's two. And then also three, one thing I do with the series, not only do white people say, inappropriate things to Black people, but I also kind of show, hold up a mirror to some things that we as African Americans do that we could improve upon, that we deal with as a group, that, could actually be addressed and needs to be addressed, in my opinion.
No, I totally agree. I think that sometimes the prejudice that we have prejudice too, can hinder us in the workforce.
Right.
So sometimes we feel like we have to have everything on our shoulders. We have to teach everyone, like, this is not what's appropriate. Sometimes it's not even like that, but we have it in our minds. So we need to get past some of those bias to really grow and to build and to find different resources available to us.
Exactly. And as I said about, kind of holding up a mirror to ourselves, one particular scene comes to mind. This is in episode 3, which is called The Business Trip, where the main character, Bill, is the only Black to attend this conference, and he has to stay in a room with his white coworkers, and so it's obviously a lot of different culture exchanges in terms of, how, for instance, he wears a wave cap to bed, so it's a do-rag wave cap to bed, how that is different than what his white coworkers wear, and just different things of that nature.
The next question I have to ask, being a media maker of color, how has digital media been a game changer?
Wow. Well, it's given me someone who didn't go to film school, someone who didn't know anybody in the industry, someone who doesn't live in, the LA market, the New York market, the Atlanta market. It's given me a voice, and, without, the YouTubes of the world, the Vimeos of the world, I wouldn't have that voice, and so it's really just give me an opportunity to compete with people in different areas that may have some advantages. Gives me an opportunity to compete, and gives me exposure that I would not ordinarily have had. And so it's given me the outlet to, to build a lot of exposure, to build viewership on different digital networks and different things of that nature. Live streaming or not live streaming, but streaming. It's just incredible that this day and age that we as independent filmmakers can achieve these type of heights, whereas 20 years ago it wouldn't have been so easy.
Yeah, so it's allowed you to break through. It's easy. We have no excuses why we can't create content, because anyone with a camera phone, some people say this, some people with like iPhones or anything, iPad or just a regular smartphone, can create content. And then you can stream it, and people from, Zimbabwe can watch it if they have a connection. So it gives us so much access to a different world and being creative and opportunity.
Absolutely.
So the last question I have to ask you, I know you have other content out. People can check it out on your YouTube channel. But what can we expect next from Tin Man Creative Productions?
Well, actually, right now I'm in the midst of doing some copywriting. So we are creating ads. We write and produce ads, so we tackle different businesses and what they're trying to achieve as far as entering new markets, as far as trying to brand themselves. You know, we kind of use our voice. You know, obviously a lot of it is comedic because that's sort of our strength, you know, coming from the stand-up comedy background and so forth. So we're entering in that domain, trying to, you know, get a footprint. Right now we're doing a lot of spec work. So obviously, you know, that's they have to buy it. So it's not as if we're being hired at this point. We're just sharing what we can do with these different companies and our ideas. And hopefully soon somebody will, you know, find it appealing enough and makes a lot of sense to move forward with us. So that's one thing. And then I'm entering into doing sketch comedy. So trying to work on a show like a Chappelle show type of show, you know, where you have that type of sketch comedy component. You know, we have a bunch of ideas. Also, because of that stand-up background as well, we can get on stage and tell jokes as well.
That all sounds good, all the comedy hee-hees and ha-has. So people, please check everything out that's coming from this man. Thank you again for allowing me to interview you.
No problem. Let me throw out there a couple of websites for you. One would be corporatebrother.com. You can see all of our episodes there and learn more about me and our production team. You can also go to our YouTube channel, which is Tin Man Entertainment. You know, you have all of the Corporate Brothers, my other project called Rebuilding Tyrone Smallwood, as well as you know, stand-up comedy and commercials and all that kind of good stuff. You know, so, and if anybody wants to contact me directly, Todd at corporatebrother.com.
All right, everyone, check it out. Check it out. Thank you again, Todd.
Thanks, Victoria.